Hello and welcome to Out of the Darkroom on Adorama TV. I'm here at Photo London 2015 and joining me on the show today is Eva Vermandel. Eva is a fine art photographer who works exclusively in film, and she's going to be sharing her thoughts on exactly why that is important in this day and age.
Adorama TV presents Out of the Darkroom with Ruth Medjber.
Eva, thank you so much for joining me here at Photo London 2015. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. So have you had a chance to look around the show yet?
Not that much, because I went to the private view on Wednesday, and like with most of these things, you just end up bumping into people all the time. You know, I've been working as an editorial portrait photographer for about 20 years now. And so I've met many people over the years, but the reason why I'm here at Photo London is for the fine arts part of my practice.
You're signing your book Splinter, isn't that right?
Yeah, which was published through Hatchikans a year and a half ago. And it's a body of work I've been working on since, I worked on for about 6-7 years, through 2006 into 2012. And right from the start I knew I hit on something really, really strong, and because also very early in the V&A did an acquisition of 3 prints from the series, which of course I was incredibly thrilled about. And then in 2010, through my friend Michael Boremans, the painter, I met Marcus Hartman. Michael put me in touch with Marcus via email. And then Marcus, when he was in London, came over to my flat, viewed the work, and he said, "Yeah, we'd love to do your book." I just couldn't believe it. It would be so quick and simple.
Yeah.
And I was so incredibly happy to be with a publisher like Hatchikans, because I really firmly want to place myself in the fine art world, because it's very multi-layered, you know, and a lot of photography work. You know, I'm not saying one thing is worth more than the other, but they're just two different things. You get a lot of work within the world of photography that is very much about quite flat subjects, you know, where you can easily put your finger on it. You know, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. You can explain it in a sentence. And the work I'm interested in and the work I produce is much more multi-layered, and it's about communicating ideas and emotional things that are much more multi-layered and contradictory often as well, and that you can't just explain in a sentence. Also, that's why I have to get it out there as a visual piece.
Okay.
And that's also what Splinter is about. And that's also why it took me a really long time to get the body of work together, because it is really intense work.
Yeah, I mean, I found that when I was looking through Splinter, that I was hanging on to the images more, that I felt that I needed to spend time to really get to know what's going on in that subject matter. And they have this they have a draw to them. I guess, I don't know whether you see it, but I felt like as the viewer, there was a lot required of me to get into these imes. I mean, that's intentional, obviously.
Oh, totally, yeah. Because they're very opaque at first, and it does take a while before you can actually, before they almost become porous, and when the emotional core of it starts to come through. So, but I really wanted to create something that was solid, and that was, you know, and solid. If you create something solid, it's automatically going to be a lot more, opaque. In a way, you know, it's you can't penetrate it as easily.
Can you tell me maybe a little bit about the setup of your shoots? As I'm looking at the lighting, and I can't for the life figure out how you've done this and what you use to capture this almost like this painterly glow that's going on there. So what is your setup, if you don't mind?
I just choose daylight, and it's really funny. When I first started working as a photographer, I always thought that photographers I admired had one trick that they did, you know, that it was all about tricks. It's not about tricks. It's just about, over the years, you just slowly build up your own visual alphabet, and you become so precise in it. And it's also with my work, it's all in the detail, and it's all about how I interpret the light. And also, I'm so well practiced now that I don't even use a light meter anymore most of the time. I just guess the light, and and also the palette I've created in my photography. I mean, that's it's just something I've created over the years.
I think I can definitely see that you almost photograph like a painter. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got the eye of a painter, I think. And is it just so happens that you choose the camera as a tool? I mean,
yeah, it just, with my dad being a really into photography. I just grew up with it, and also as soon as I picked up a camera, it came naturally. It was I didn't even have to make an effort to get a grip on it, and everything. It always came naturally. So, but sometimes I feel like as a medium, it's just so limiting, and I want to add more to it, or I want to be able to go to the emotional core of things much more intensely. And I do feel that a camera can be a bit too limiting in its scope in that way.
Yeah, I've noticed that your style does transcend from your fine art photography into your commercial work. The portraits that you take, I know they're all on a commission basis and they've been set up by an editor or whatever. But when you meet someone, judging from what I can see as a viewer, everybody seems to be so relaxed in your presence. Whether they're still just having a bite of their sandwich or a cup of tea, or they're not even looking at you. How do you set that up? I mean, is that intentional? Do you just how does it work when you meet someone for the first time and you have to take their likeness?
I think it's very easy. Like, first of all, I have a very small kit, so I just work with a Mamiya 7, and most of the time I just use daylight, so there's no fuss at all technically. And then I really open up to people. So and if I use a lot of projection, psychological term, projection in my work. So if I open up to people, they will open up to me. And also it's a lot of I also put them at ease. You can compare it to if you go to a doctor. You just want to know exactly what's going on, especially I often compare it actually to going to the gynecologist. And because it is almost like being at a gynecologist, because it's very intimate having your picture taken, so I just tell people, I guide them really, really carefully, but at the same time I also give them a lot of space to just be. And but I guide them towards the light, and I just make sure they sit comfortably or they stand comfortably. And then we just talk, and I shoot film all the time. Like, I don't use digital at all, because the quality is just awful compared to film. And as long as the quality of digital is not on a par with film, I'm just going to stick to film. Do you have a particular type of film that you love to work with? Portra 800, always. Really? Yeah. And that's it, and you stick with that? I just stick to, even in bright light, I still use Portra 800. Because it's my film. It's just, and I know it through and through. And also, like I said, usually I don't even have to use a light meter, because I just have a light meter in my head and it's automatically set to 800, so I can just guess the light there and then, and that also enables me to work very quickly. And then in terms of afterwards, is there any post-production, or do you just how does that happen? I've always done all my own printing, and in the color darkroom and in the black and white darkroom, and but since 2006 I've been scanning my negatives, and which I also really like. I love the combination of analog and digital, and I love all the possibilities it gives scanning a negative. But for me, it's still far better to work from a negative than from a digital file. Listen, thanks so much for sharing all those brilliant insights. I've learned a lot, and I might try go back to shooting film and slowing things down myself. Yes, well, if you're up for it. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone. It probably won't work for me, but I'm up for anything. Yeah, Eva, thank you so much for chatting with me. Thank you so much. Cheers. Well, that's it for this episode of Out of the Darkroom. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. If you want to start the conversation, please leave me a few comments below. I appreciate the feedback. If you want to brush up on your own photography skills, visit the Adorama Learning Centre, where you're going to find lots of workshops and tutorials. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've enjoyed the show, because I'm going to be bringing back some more videos on Out of the Darkroom. See you soon.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy to use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.